But there is a huge night ahead in the Championship, the final day of the season. Incredibly, 11 of the 12 games coming up have got something riding on them when it comes to promotion, the playoffs or relegation. Well, let's start at the top. West Bromwich Albion, they're sitting in that second automatic promotion spot. But if they slip up, then Fulham have a chance, as do Brentford, who also say farewell to what's been their home for over 100 years. Patrick Geary reports.
Meet the Bees, which interpreted means Brentford Football Club, First Division.
Griffin Park, Brentford's home since 1904. A former brewery site with a pub on every corner, a place soaked in beer and memories.
36,000 fans in the grip of cup fever at Griffin Park to watch Brentford in stripes.
But soon to be a place of the past, Brentford are moving slightly northeast and they hope upwards. They could arrive next season in their new stadium as a Premier League team. But first they need one last result at Griffin Park against Barnsley.
It's our home and we love it and it gives us everything. And for the fans, they've been coming here for 50, 60 years now, where we are just one step away going into a new stadium. We are maybe in the best place as a club in the last 50, 60 years. It's a lot of emotions in that.
Emotion is backed up by cold analytics in the Brentford system. The owner, Matthew Benham, made his money in statistics, and the numbers guide the Bees in all that they do. It's taken them to the brink of the top division for the first time since 1947, all a far cry from the club former chairman Greg Dyke found back in 2006.
It was pretty tough. We had no money. It's changed dramatically, largely thanks to one guy coming in and putting a lot of money into the club, but also bringing a different technique. What they've been able to do is find really outstanding players that haven't cost a lot of money.
It could all have been easier. A point against Stoke at the weekend would have kept automatic promotion in Brentford's hands, but they lost. And now West Brom are favourites. They play QPR knowing a win would definitely return them to the Premier League. Fulham might even sneak in if the Baggies and Bees slip up. But on what should be a famous last night at Griffin Park, the fans will be there only in spirit and outline, not in person.
It is going to be really weird not being there. Last game of the season, potentially the last game at Griffin Park, and I'm absolutely gutted. I mean, I've been going there for 40 years and it's my home, and not to be there, for the final game, and also not to be there for this game to urge them on if they need it, is going to be really gutting.
So, at the end of an era of fateful night, Brentford could be taking the golden elevator to the Premier League or face the rickety ladder of the playoffs. Patrick Geary, BBC News.
Well, a little earlier I spoke to a Bees fan who remembers watching Brentford the last time they were promoted to the top division in England. That was in the 1930s. They were then relegated, as Patrick was saying, straight after the Second World War. 96 years young. Here's Albert French.
My very first match was against Blackpool. The score was 1-0, and that was 1934. So I was about 10 or 11 years old then. But I can imagine it as though it was yesterday, because things are very hard times. So you didn't really get the opportunity to go in to see the football much. So that was the only time that I saw them in the second division. The atmosphere generally was electrifying all around the local area, and I can never forget it, really.
You see Leeds getting very excited back after, just 16 years, but for Brentford to get back to the top, that would be something.
Well, I know, to them, it's a long time, but for Brentford, it's a super long time because it's nearly 74 years, nearly 3/4 of a century since Brentford are in the top flight.
What would it mean to you personally, Albert, if you could go and watch your team play against Tottenham and Arsenal next season?
At my age, let's face it, 96, almost really in the departure lounge, but I do hope to see them. And my son has certainly made every effort that I should go and see them next season. And so all in all, we live in hope that I make it, and love to see them trot out in a new stadium. It will be a day to remember for everyone.